Good evening, my non existent viewers. After 13 years, it is finally here. I just got back from seeing Avatar The Weight of Water, the long awaited sequel to 2009 epic film Avatar, directed once again by James Cameron and starring once again Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, and a lot of actors from the original cast reprising their respective roles from the first film, and Sigourney Weaver, who played Grace Augustine in the first film, coming back to play as Kiri in this film, and some new actors like Cliff Curtis and Kate Winslet are coming to play new characters of the Metkayina clan, and it's set 10 years after the events of the first Avatar, with Jake and Neytiri. We follow them having a family, and then the RDA comes back with Stephen Lang as returning as Quaritch as a recon body, then he's getting his Avatar body. They're forced to leave their homes. Then they move to the Reef Clan, that's a Kaina, in search of a new home to keep their family safe, and there they have to learn the ways and hold off the RDA attacks. This is no secret to anyone who's been subscribed to my channel for at least the past year, but Avatar: The Way of Water was my most anticipated film that came out this year. I've said it many times over the many years I've been making YouTube videos, and I'll say it again here. The first Avatar, back in 2009, is one of my all-time favorite films, and I already did a very in-depth, spoiler-heavy review of it back in October, roughly around the same time my YouTube channel turned 9 years old, which was because the whole remastered version of it was put back in theaters this past September. So I really thought that was a good time to make just a spoiler-heavy, classic review for Avatar. And yeah, Way of Water, I walked in not concerned for the film itself, but I was concerned this would be another case of Jurassic World Dominion for me, where it's this would be a movie that I love that everyone else hates because I'm just so hyped for it going into it, or that I would be concerned that the film would end up not succeeding at the box office, because I've heard a lot of people online be like, "Ooh, Avatar: Way of Water is gonna bomb." So I avoided any critical scores, no Rotten Tomatoes, no IMDb, didn't watch any movie reviews. I avoided stuff like the plague prior to seeing Way of Water, and I think that's the best way to go into Way of Water, because the trailers, in my opinion, did a pretty good job at keeping most of the film's plot under wraps. That Jake and Neytiri gotta take their kids to the ocean clans and learn their ways, and we see the ocean regions of Pandora, and that Quaritch and other soldiers who died in the previous film, Private Pancake comes back. Yeah, I know his name is Wayne Flate, but the way the hammerhead Titanosaur splats on him at the end of the last film, I just call him Private Pancake for the sake of my movie reviews. Yeah, we know they're coming back, but aside from that, there's a lot of plot points that trailers didn't touch base on, and that's a very good call on the marketing team's spot. And yeah, I saw this film in a crowded theater, and yeah, as far as I could tell, nobody was disappointed walking out of it, myself included. This film is 3 hours and 15 minutes long, and oh my gosh, viewers, those 3 hours and 15 minutes went by so fast. I unfortunately did not get a chance to see Way of Water in 3D. Not because I didn't want to see it in 3D, it's just here in my area in Nebraska, I can't, the local theater here does not have 3D, but trust me, whether you see this film in 2D or in 3D or IMAX or no IMAX, you are in for a visually dazzling treat. The underwater motion capture that was invented specifically for this film, because James Cameron, he's a huge ocean enthusiast. He's always been passionate about marine biology and all things to do with ocean. This is a guy who directed Titanic and The Abyss, and he's always been just a complete nut for all things ocean. Yeah, he, instead of doing the typical thing that actors do for movies where they just film the actors swimming in front of a green screen with fans blowing, making it look underwater. No, they had an entire set of a giant swimming pool. This film had a budget of $250 million for underwater motion capture, and Kate Winslet, she can hold her breath for 7 freaking minutes, which topped Tom Cruise's record for Mission Impossible for being able to hold your breath underwater for that long. Yeah, the effort, I almost forgot that it was CGI in this film. The ocean, the sea creatures, and the coral reefs, and the kids, the Na'vi kids swimming in the water. Yeah, it looks so real and so realistic, and it's just it's just mind-blowing like what they can do for these films, guys. And I gotta take my hat off for Simon Franklin, who did the score for this film. Yeah, they do take a lot of the original music from the first film, but he adds his own spin to it, and I gotta say, James Horner, he would be proud. May he rest in peace. But like, I really hope there's a new Oscar category for like motion capture performances, like voice acting performances in film for animated films, and motion capture performances like the various Na'vi in this film, because Zoe Saldana as Neytiri is like, again, my second favorite motion capture performance of all time, first being Andy Serkis as Gollum in Lord of the Rings. And yeah, the emotional way that she and all like the other characters carry was like one of the, it was like that, and the visuals and the action scenes were just like the heart of the film. And yes, the action scenes, again, directing a good action scene for James Cameron is like taking a walk down the street. Like, he knows how to put butts in seats, and he knows, and he's perfected his craft so well, and he knows like what people want. Like, yeah, people will crap on the first Avatar and this film as well for having a very simple premise, just being too a lot of visuals or action scenes. But a simple narrative is not synonymous with a bad narrative. I really hope more people understand the difference between those two. Though I will say this is not an issue with Way of Water specifically. These are just like nitpicks and like missed opportunities. I couldn't help but notice like people. I remember when like back in 2015 when Star Wars: The Force Awakens came out, people loved to like sort of like criticize the film for its plot being too similar to like A New Hope's. I will say this: I got that same feeling from Way of Water, because this film and the first Avatar film, they do, like, narratively speaking, they do share a lot of notable similarities. It starts off with Jake because the first film is like you see Jake Sully coming to Avatar, and he has he gets his Avatar body, and he has to learn how to be one of the people, and he succeeds in doing so. Then something horrible happens in the middle of the bad guys. In the first film they destroy Home Tree, and he's kicked out of the tribe. And then he has to tame Toruk and become Toruk Makto and come back to win their trust again, so they can just have an all out final battle at the end of the first film. Yeah, Way of Water, again, this is a spoiler for review. I'm not gonna go too far in details, but the narrative follows similar beats. They have to, Jake and Neytiri and their kids, they have to leave the forest and go to the Metkayina clan and learn their ways and gain their trust. And then someone does a thing in the middle of the film, and it's really heartbreaking, and the last act of the film is just balls to the walls, just constant action and suspense and just being on the edge of your seat. Yeah, it's very simple premise. And yeah, just like how the first film had a very strong message about protecting the forests, this film has a very strong message about protecting the oceans, which for any younger viewers going into Way of Water, I think it's going to help them out quite a bit, because that's what the first film did for me when I saw that in theaters as an 11-year-old. Yeah, it made me even more inspired, save the environment as I did already, and I really hope that the future Avatar films will do the same thing. That and another nitpick, I gotta say, the Way of Water, there's, again, won't go into it because it is spoiler-y, but there are it did have me asking questions that ultimately went unanswered, and it was I feel like I was the only person who was asking the question specifically, and it went unanswered, and I was it would be really great if the film could explain, especially with one of the new characters, Spider, the human child in this film, because it's established that he was born on the RDA colony in the first film, but since the humans were banished from Pandora, he was a baby at the time and too small. They put in cryo sleep, so he had to stay on Earth and be raised by the Na'vi and the other scientists. The Na'vi chose to stay. Throughout the film, I really like Spider as a character. I'm really excited to see more of him in the sequels. It's just he does a lot of things that are very eyebrow raising, to say the least. When I saw him in the trailers, because I know people who hate the first Avatar love to bash it for being too much like Pocahontas, I got the impression this film would also receive similar backlash for being too much like Tarzan, in a sense, because Spider, he's a human child raised amongst Na'vi, kind of like how, the Disney movie Tarzan, you know how that goes. A human child raised by gorillas, and throughout that Disney movie, Tarzan has to learn how to, win the trust of Kerchak, the silverback gorilla, by the end of the film. Yeah, I was expecting Spider to have a similar, character arc like Tarzan's, because Neytiri doesn't really see him as her son. she sees him as like one of them. He's one of the aliens, one of the sky people. And I thought this entire film was gonna be that, which it kind of is for Spider, but it's not in the same beats as what I thought it was going to be, which I thought worked in the film's favor, but also left some like, oh, something happens, and I'm just like, what's gonna happen next? Yeah, there are multiple sequels planned, like, you know, a third and fourth film. I hear they're even going for like 6 or 7 of these Avatar movies, which is really, like, it's surprising and exciting, but also a little concerning, because an honest, genuine concern that I have for like this Avatar franchise, James Cameron as a director, he's not getting any younger, and I've heard that like the fourth or fifth Avatar films are not going to be directed by him. He's gonna pass on to a new director. If this this franchise does take a new direction, you know, with the crew, I really hope they don't lose the original image, the vision that James Cameron had. And also, like, James Cameron, like, again, these films, the screenplays can't be like as reliant on like just pretty visuals forever. Like, I would really hope that they go beyond the forests and the Hallelujah Mountains and the reefs and check out other like locations on Pandora and other like Na'vi tribes, because Pandora as a world is like Middle Earth caliber in terms of like lore and details. Like, just look at Avatar's Wikipedia page. Even the plants, every single little plant in the first film has a lot of details to it, just like the animals, and just both in the first film and the ocean life, the marine life in Way of Water with the Tulkins and the Elus is just, and the crocodile flying fish things that you see in the trailer. Yeah, it's just, the attention to details is so spot on. But I don't want it to just be the forests and the oceans. I hope they check out the plains and the mountains and the tundras possibly, and wherever else they go to. I really, the possibilities are endless, and I would hate to see waste potential, like, you know, attack this franchise. But yeah, I gotta wrap up the review by this. Way of Water, again, I saw it in a crowded theater, and I think that's that's honestly the best way you can see Way of Water. Hopefully you guys get to see it in 3D, unlike me, because I gotta say, this film really, because I just remember seeing the first Avatar film with my mother when I was 11, and seeing this film as a 24-year-old all these years later. It was just so refreshing to just go back to Pandora after all this time. And I gotta say, Way of Water definitely deserves an 8 out of 9 stars. It's an awesome film, and you guys should totally check it out this holiday season. I want to apologize that I've been like seriously slacking on movie reviews for the past month. It's just, I've had a lot of things going on in my life for the past like month-ish. I have seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I have seen Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and I've seen a handful of other films, you know, in the past like month. So I do plan on making like another video of just giving like mini reviews. And I also have some like end of the year like ranking videos coming your way soon, as well as like my New Year's Eve Q&A right around the corner. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've seen Way of Water, please let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Did you love it, hate it, think it was just okay, or did you like it, dislike it, or anywhere in between? Please tell me in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. My name is TV9. Have a nice night. Stay beastly.